Hey guys, it's Marshall here, and I just wanted to give a quick update video for the Legends Info plugin version 1.82. I just want to go through a couple of the changes that are important to note in it. I just have a regular area here already set up, and the Info plugin's already installed on it, so just the Info plugin there. So the first thing I wanted to show that's different from the previous versions, and this kind of goes for all plugins, is the newest Master Configurator version 1.82. One of the biggest changes is now I've pulled the module scripts and the update area scripts out onto this main screen because I used to have the update module scripts button in the configuration screen, but if you press this button while you were in the configuration screen and you never had hit finish previously, your changes may not save, so it made more sense just to have it out here separately. The other big difference in configure is that, again, those buttons are now gone, and there's a few different plugins. I keep changing these to be closer to what I'm currently working on. So you'll see other buttons here like dungeon instances and things like that that exist in the Legends persistent world for years, but have never been turned into actual plugins. And noisy. Anyway, so yeah, so that's one of the big differences in the Master Configurator, and you'll start seeing this Master Configurator in all the newer versions of my plugins. Specific to the Info plugin, the first change, I guess there's really two changes that's important to note, is the first one with triggers. So I'm just going to draw a trigger. This is a Legends Info box trigger that you can get from the blueprints. And if I fire up the Info plugin on it, with it selected, I can see now a new section right here called skill checks. So this is now handy for using skill checks on triggers. Before, I would just write down, this is like the secret door info. It's just your own personal descriptive name, and then you notice, a discolored brick on the, south wall or whatever. Now, previously, you could hit finish here, and whenever a player runs over the trigger, they see this message. Now, what you can do is you can actually apply a skill to it. So I can apply, say the spot check with, a DC of like 14 on it, and if the player runs over it, a spot check will be made, and if they pass, they'll see the message, and if they fail, nothing. You can also click this one attempt only, not to be confused with things like trigger once per reset and no repeat and stuff like that. What this means is if this is not checked, a player will run over the trigger, and if they fail their check, the next time they run over, it'll check again, and they'll keep checking until they succeed. If you have one attempt only turned on, what happens is if the player runs over the trigger for the first time and they fail their spot check, they run over the trigger a second time, it doesn't roll again. They only get one chance at it. That's what this checkbox means. So they only get one chance, pass or fail, and they won't get any notification they're even running over one. So, you might have a group of guys walking through a dungeon, and one of them might spot, they might run through this dungeon 5 or 6 times, and eventually, with this off, eventually one of them might run over it and see it. However, if you only want them to ever try once, then you can check that check on. So that's what new in the trigger. Another new thing in the trigger and also in camera cutscenes is this. It's grayed out right now. It says active if PC is on quest. This you can also find in camera triggers, and I'll just drop one of those down. Cutscene triggers. So this is a cutscene trigger found in the blueprints, and I'll fire up the Info plugin on that and edit a camera cutscene. And you'll also see it right here, active if PC is on quest. Because the Quest plugin is not actually installed in this module, it knows not to light this up, but if the Quest plugin was actually on this module as well, this would be available. And what you can do is you can type in the Quest ID, the 4-digit Quest ID in this box, and save it. And if a player is not on that quest, if they're not in the middle of that quest somewhere, then this camera cutscene will not fire. If they are on the quest, then they run over this trigger, then this does fire. So I use this in my persistent world for things like what I do is I'll have a quest, and there'll be a dungeon, and there'll be a boss in that dungeon. And the boss needs to be killed for a quest. If the players are not on the quest, they can go in the dungeon, but the boss won't even be there. So it didn't make a lot of sense for a camera cutscene in front of the boss if the boss is not there. So players can go into the dungeon and explore around and fight stuff, but they just won't get the boss, and therefore they won't get the cutscene either. Then when they go and they pick up the quest, they go into the dungeon, the boss will spawn, and because they're also on the quest, they run over the trigger and they get a nice little camera cutscene with the boss in the room. So that's why I decided to put this in here. So that's where that's useful, and same idea for the triggers too. If you just want to give information, you can have a requirement for the PC to be on a particular quest. And that is pretty much the changes in the info plugin, along with some bug fixes. Of course, there were several bug fixes in this version. And above and beyond that, that's pretty much it for the Legends Info plugin. All right, so we'll hope to see you on the site, and hope you enjoy using the plugin.